Welcome back, guys, to yet another tutorial on creating icons. So this time around, we're going to create a profile icon. And I'm sure you're familiar with the profile icon because typically that's what you find when you don't have your own profile image. For example, if you're on the profile page or you're on your account page, you don't have your own, so there's sort of a default that comes in sometimes. That's where you find a profile icon. Or sometimes you might find a profile icon on the tab bar, and that's used to show you that that particular tab will be for the profile page. So here's the thing. Once again, I'm going to give you a bit of a challenge. This one's going to be a lot more challenging than the ones we've done from before. And the thing is here that just give it a go. Just think about the shapes that make up a profile icon and just come up with your own interpretation of a profile icon. It doesn't have to be what you might think is the perfect profile icon. There's no standard profile icon that exists. It's really the result of your own artistic skills. And this should really, as I've mentioned before, taking on these challenges will accelerate your progress towards being able to independently create your own icons. So put the video on pause right now and attempt to create a profile icon, and I will see you after the break. So I trust you've tried to create the profile icon. Now, even if you haven't, or if you have and things didn't work out well, either way, we're still learning, so it's fine. So let's go ahead and see how I'm going to do it. So this time around, we're going to use the grid, and this is for the sake of precision. We've learned about the grid in the previous video, so please go back to that if you haven't done it. So let's come over here to the view option, and we'll say show grid. Okay, so let's just find a nice grid that we can use. Just about any. Let's just say this one. We want this nice grid. And we know each of these boxes is about 20 pixels. So let's go over to or in fact, we're not using insert because we're professional, right? So we'll just tap R on our keyboards. And then we want something that's about 2 boxes high and dominates or fills up 10 boxes at the bottom. So let's just create that. And look how nicely it snaps to the lines, which is really nice, or which is a really nice thing about the pixel grid and the various lines over here. Okay, so now we have this box, which is going to represent the base of our profile icon, or the body of our profile icon. So the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to double tap on this, and you know what that does? That puts us in vector mode. We've been in vector mode quite a few times, haven't we? So we're going to look for the middle, which is around about here, like this, because that should be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then there should be 5 icons to the other side. So we know this is definitely the middle. Now, there's one thing I want to show you here. If we go over to the panel over here whilst we're still in vector mode, you'll see something here that says round to full pixel edges or round to, well, actually the default tends to be round to half pixels. So what's the big deal around this? Well, let's see. Now, if this is round to half pixels, you'll notice that as I start to go up, just notice the Y position there on the right-hand side. It is going to snap either to a full pixel or half a pixel. And when we talk about half pixels is what creates pixels to not be perfect, okay? We don't have pixel perfection if we start having things like this. So in most cases, you won't want to have round to half pixels. You'll want to have round to full pixel edges. And this way, as we move up, the Y position doesn't try to find half anymore. It tries to find the full pixel edge as we go up, which is far much better as in terms of quality we're going to look for at the end of creating this icon. All right, so that part's out of the way. So let's drag this up by about 2 pixels up, right? We've dragged it from here 2 pixels up. And there we go. And by the way, by us just putting that point there, we've actually created a new point within this shape, which is interesting because that's actually a vector technique. So we're slowly getting into the use of the vector tool way too early. So I've kind of broken my promise that we weren't going to do that, and we're only going to be limited to the Boolean operations. But in truth, creating icons is really a combination of the vector tool and Boolean operations. Okay, so there we go. So now we have this, which represents the base of the body. So now we're going to go for the oval tool, or the oval shape. So I'm going to tap O on my keyboard, and I'm just going to draw out an ellipse, and I'm going to try and make it about 108 by 144. I'm not going to get that right just dragging it around. So let me just select it like this, and I'll say 108 by 144. And then I'm going to make it sit somewhere here like this. Well, currently it sits just under the pixel grid like that. I'm sure you can follow along with what I've just done. All right, so far so good. So I'd like to give this profile icon of mine some ears. So again, I'm going to go for the O tool to create this. It's going to be in the form of an ellipse. I want this to be about 15 by 30. I'm not going to get that by dragging out. It's going to be very difficult. So I'm just going to leave it like that, and then I'm just going to adjust it here in the inspector. So I've got a width of 15, and I'll change the height here to 30. And then I'll just push this slightly here, and it's kind of difficult, but okay, at this point you're wondering, what am I using here? I'm using my keyboard because I couldn't quite drag it out with my mouse. It's really flailing all over the place. So I've come somewhere here, which is, let's see, that's about about 2.5 pixels or something like that here, and I'm just using my mouse to just find a decent place that it looks okay. And that really is a question of your own judgment as to whether you think it looks good. And well, I think I've come to a good place here, so you try to do the same. Then again, I'm going to then hold on Command D on my keyboard, which is going to duplicate this ear that I had. So now I have two, you'll see here. And now I'll just drag this out. Okay, now I can use the Alt tool, which should just show me some distances here. So right now they exist at a distance of about 101 from each other. So as I'm still holding Alt, I can just use my keyboard to position this other ear. Now they exist at a distance of about 100, but what I want to do, let's just select this ear so we know that its Y position is 750, and yeah, good. So by checking the Y positions, I'm certain now that they're actually aligned. We already know that they have or share the same width and height, which is good. So I'm just going to use a little bit of judgment again to try get this in like this. Now, how big is the head? The head is about 108, and our ear here is 15. Okay. Well, actually, right now they are indeed symmetrical. Yes, they are indeed. So at the moment, I've got them symmetrical. But if you want to use a little bit of algebra to ensure that they are, you can. So here we are. So we've added the ears. So I want to ensure that these ears and this head are in fact one shape. We know how to do that. We're just going to select all these things here. Now, I did mention, or up until this point, we've felt or believed Boolean operations are between two shapes only. Well, you can combine three shapes altogether, which is what I've done right now. And there we go. Now it's become one combined shape. So here we go. So now we have the ears connected with the head. Now, one thing you might see from this head is that it's not exactly very easy to see that it's a profile icon. And the reason for that is we can't distinguish that this is in fact his neck. So what we could do is to add some kind of a separator over here to sort of show that this is in fact the head on top of the base of something. So how do we do this? Well, we're going to learn how to scale things now, which is an extra tool that we can use. So there are two ways we can get to here. We can either use Command K, which is the shortcut, or we can come up to selecting, let's just select this. We have to select something first, right? Then we come to Layer, Transform, and we choose scale. And you can see that the shortcut is also displayed on the side here. So let's choose scale. And we want to scale this to about 110. Currently it's 100. So let's just change that to 110. And don't click OK because we've made a bit of a mistake here. First of all, and I hope you hadn't gone through with that, but let's just hold Command D here first because we want to duplicate the head because there's going to be something extra we're going to do after scaling this up. And then we'll take the topmost head, which is at the top of the layers panel, and then we'll hold on Command K or come to Layer, Transform, or Scale, sorry. And then we'll shift this to 110, like that. And then what we'll do is we'll take this transformed head, which is now bigger, and then holding on Shift, we'll also select the base of the body, and then we'll use the subtract Boolean operation. And that's basically just remove that bigger head away from the base of the body, which has now created has created what looks like a borderline here which separates the head from the base of the body. And that's how you basically create that effect. Okay, it's looking good so far. Let's just improve the aesthetics behind this. Let's just select the base of the body over here, and we're going to enter into vector mode once again. And we know to enter into vector mode, we can double tap on this base of the body, or we could just go to edit, which is what we're going to do at the moment. And I'm just going to hold down on Shift. I've selected this point, and I'm going to select this point here as well. So I've got these 2 points selected. And I'm going to go to the radius here, and I'm going to change this to about 15. There we go. So that just gives it a nice slant just to soften up the entire image. And I'm done here, so I can just click anywhere. And now the final touch that we have to do here is to combine the base of the body with the top of the head. So I'm going to select the base of the body, holding down Shift, and then select the head itself, and then I'm going to use the union Boolean operation, and there we go. Now we've completed our profile icon. And because we're professional, we'll come to the side here and rename combined shape to profile icon. And there we go. So now at this point, we are completely done. And I know you have a bit of questions. For example, we have some rounded shoulders. Should we flatten it at this point? Well, I'll get into that discussion a little later on, because what we have to do at this point is we have to talk a little bit about this borderline here. There's a bit of an issue that we have to resolve so that we can scale this nicely. So we'll talk about the solution in perhaps the next video. But for now, we're going to conclude with what we've done. We've done a good job. So let's conclude here.